Hey guys, we got a 22 Chevy Malibu here, and we're doing front brake pads and rotors. And so we're going to show you how to get that thing done. We got a 14 millimeter socket to take the caliper pins off. We're going to take them off right now. All right, we're going to pry the caliper back a little bit. And we're going to get our bar in here, and we're going to collapse the piston. Okay, so we can get it in here now and finish collapsing it. It's going in nice and smooth. Okay, we get that collapsed. I'm going to sit this up on top here. Now this car has the brake clips that on the brake pads. This is what spreads the brake clips out. So after we lube it, these little clips just unclip just like this. Really easy to put on. And the pads that we bought didn't come with new clips or anything. So these are in great condition. We have no problem reusing them. Pads are very thin. 21 millimeter to take off the caliper. Excuse me, the brake caliper bracket. Crack this loose. Let's crack the top one loose. So we noticed that our brake pads wore a little thin on the inside. So we're going to make sure that our caliper pins are really lubed well. I'm going to slip the brake bar off now. So we've got a T30 Torx bit here that's holding the rotor on. And we just use our impact drive and we push down on it. These usually have a little Loctite on them, which really not needed. We put a little never sees on them when we put them back. This one doesn't look like it had Loctite, it's just a little rusted. So we've got the rotor off now. You can slip this off. You always match these up with your new rotor to make sure that they're correct. And we've already done that. So now we're going to never seize our spindle hub bearing, all of our bolts, and get our caliper piston lube with the caliper pin lube. We'll get that all done. Now put a thin coat on here. This makes it a lot easier when you go in to do the next brake job. The rotor won't be seized on here. You can put a little bit on your threads. A little bit goes a long way with this stuff. And we use the nickel base. It's got the highest temp resistant to it. That's what we're comfortable with. All right, and so we're going to do our bolts right now. Got small bolts here. Get these done. And we've got our bolts here. And just sit these back into the housing. Don't let them protrude through. Okay, so all our bolts are lubed, and we've got our caliper pin bolts lubed. I'm going to stick this one back in. We're going to get the synthetic grease that we have for the brake caliper, and we're going to prep the piston and caliper. So we want to go around the boot of the piston and make sure this is well lubricated, because if this dries out, this is how it, it cracks and it gets sand in there, and that will shorten the life of the caliper. I put a little on the back side for the brake pads to touch. So we've got this all prepped and cleaned right now. So that's all ready to go. And we'll get the new rotor and we can slip it on and bolt put the screw back in it. You gotta price it out. All right, so we're gonna clean our brake rotor. These come through with a little oil residue on them so that they don't rust when they're sitting in the factory. And you clean these off, and sometimes there's a little residue left on the hub. So after you do the job and you're driving, you may smell a little of the fluid burning off, which is normal. All right, this one's ready.
So we got these brake rotors from O'Reilly's.
Yeah, we got the O'Reilly's and the rotors and the pads from O'Reilly's.
Okay.
And so we're gonna slip this one on right now. I'm gonna line up the hole over here. Tony, I forgot to put the medicine.
So you're fired.
Got some left on this one here. All right.
Had one job to do, Steve.
I'll
Have to kick you in the kneecap.
All right, I got enough on there now. All right. Slide this on. I'm not touching the rotor itself, the disc part. So once I get this caught, we're going to tighten this up. Hold it down flush. That's all you need. All right, let's go get our brake caliper and pad set up.
Okay.
All right, so I'll take our pads off here. Now the new set didn't come with clips, but the clips are in great condition, so we're going to reuse them. But look how thin we are. We went right down to nothing. So you want to check your boots to make sure, and these aren't seized. So this thing is just wearing normally. So we could peel the boots back, and you pull them out, and we're going to load them up with the caliper pin lube. And we use the synthetic stuff. It really works well. It's good for the high temp. And I'm going to take a little blob of it, and I stick it into the boot so that when I push the pin down, it forces it down, and it really fill it up good. And some of it always oozes out, and you can hear it going in there. When you buy the brake pads, a lot of times they give you just a little tiny tube in with the brake pads, but it's usually not enough, So we use the synthetic stuff. And now there's a boot on this one, and the boot is going on the bottom side. That side, the boot is on the bottom side. This little rubber boot right here.
Yeah, you got to be careful of those caliper slide pins. Some of them have boots, some of them don't.
Yeah. Okay. Get the pad out of there. So now we're going to take our wire brush. We're going to wire brush the area that the pad slides on. Make sure it's nice and clean. We got to make sure after we lube this that the brake pad slides smoothly. If the brake pad is not sliding smoothly, it'll wear the brake pad, offset, kind of like the way this one was. So this may have just been dry in here, and that could have been what was causing our issue with this, because the piston wasn't hung up on the caliper, and the caliper pins themselves weren't frozen. So, all right, so we're going to lube these all up now. We've got a brake pad with an anti-rattle clip on. With the warning tab on it, they call it, and that went on the inside. So this is going on in here. Want to make sure your hands you don't want to get a lot of grease or anything on the brake pad. So you kind of want to wipe your hands good. Get this on here, and this goes down into this one like this. It pushes in, and it's sliding really nice. That's what we want to see. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Sliding in nice. That's what we want. All right, so we've got our caliper bracket all loaded with the brake pads on it. We did our caliper pins, they're lubed and loaded. The slides are all clean and lubed, so we can go and throw it on. We've had everything prepped over there ready for reassembly now. Okay, so we're going to slide it on. We kept our pads kind of on the wide side out here. Now that I get them on, I can push them in. And I've got my bolt in here. I just moved the caliper, the bracket up a little bit to catch them both. Okay, I got these caught. I want them both bottom before I try and tighten them. Okay, that's tight. I tend to use these with the 1/2-inch ratchet. You want to make sure they're tight. Okay, we've got our clips over here now. And we're going to put our clips on. And they just clip underneath the brake pad in this little groove in here. And that one's all set. And we'll get the bottom one on now. That one in there. Okay. Come up here, you can see them with the light tone.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. So we've got these locked into the groove right here. So now these want to make the brake pad spread out. See how they're pushing the pad out? That's so that, you know, the brake pad doesn't stay stuck on the rotor when you squeeze it, when you're stepping on the brake pedal. So these are going to try and pull the brake pad a little bit to release the brakes. So we've got our caliper all loaded up. We want to make sure we don't have a twist in this when we put this back on. We slide it over, push our pins in. And these just have rectangular pins. So they're very easy. Doesn't matter which way you're going on. There's not a flat side on the pins. We've got our two 14mm bolts. We'll get those caught. Okay, we'll get this one caught. All right, we're going to tighten these up. I get them ran down so that they're snug, and then I tighten at the end. You want to make sure everything's seated good. Now you see how this is bulging out a little bit? This is from when we put the grease in there. So this whole boot is full of grease now. That's the way you want it. When you go and take these apart, you're going to notice that they're dry sometimes. Well, if you put the grease inside the boot like we do when we push the pin in, it's going to force the grease back and fill up the boot a little, and that's going to give you, you know, the grease eventually over time is going to break down. So this gives you just a little bit more in there. So we've got everything secured. Our rotor's secured. This is going to be the same exact procedure on the other side. We're going to pump up the brake pedal, and we're going to check the brake fluid.
Yeah, you always want to pump up the brake pedal before you start the car so you get your brake pedal back, right, Steve?
Yep.
That'll be it.